So I hope you see me. I'm Ramūnas. I'm from Hnit-Baltic here in
We do
Kaunas.
see you. All good. Yes.
Yes, I'm working as a system architect, and I will introduce you to the Esri ArcGIS Experience Builder. So I will share my screen. Hope you see it. So ArcGIS Experience Builder empowers you to quickly transform your data into compelling web apps without writing a single line of code. You can build map-centric or non-map-centric applications and display them on a fixed or scrolling screen on a single or multiple pages. You can perform drag and drop operations to choose the tools you need from the rich set of widgets, design your own templates, and interact with your 2D or 3D content, all within one app. With ArcGIS Experience Builder, your web app looks great and runs seamlessly on mobile devices. ArcGIS Experience Builder is built into ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise on your premises. So it leverages all your existing data. Choose a software as a service or on-premises deployment to fit your needs. In addition, ArcGIS Experience Builder is built on an extensible framework. So developers in your organization can build their own widgets and templates. This results in agile web apps that aid in decision-making across multiple projects. ArcGIS Experience Builder Developer Edition can be downloaded from developers.arcgis.com/experience-builder website. And to create experiences, you must have ArcGIS developer account or to be a member of ArcGIS organization with a user type that includes privileges to create content. Experience Builder supports ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise 10.6 and later. In the download page, you will see 3 zip files. First zip file is contains everything you need if you can work online. You just, if you need to install Experience Builder without the internet connection, let's say in internet, download archive with node modules cache, and the third package is offline documentation. Before starting install, make sure you have at least Node.js version 12. For Windows, the easiest way is to use Windows installer. It comes with npm included. So I already downloaded ArcGIS Experience Builder and extracted to ArcGIS Experience Builder folder in C drive. I already also executed npm clean install in server and client node module to download node module dependencies. When you run npm start in server folder, it kicks a builder application process which listens on ports 3000 and 3001 for HTTPS protocol. Self-signed certificate is being used for HTTPS. You can generate your own and place in server's cert folder, and this would allow you to avoid the errors the browser shows you warning about invalid certificate. We are going to develop a custom widget, or also it's possible to develop a custom theme, but this time I will show how to develop a custom widget. So we must also run npm start in the client directory, which launches a webpack and listens for changes for your widget. When you add the files or folders, you must restart the client process. So I will demonstrate that later. Before running Experience Builder on your computer, you must register it on ArcGIS Online or your ArcGIS Enterprise portal. In my case, I logged in a portal for ArcGIS, which is installed on premises, and created a web mapping application and registered HTTPS localhost 3001 and HTTP localhost 3000 URLs, where local installation of Experience Builder is running, Experience Builder Developer Edition. During registration, Mantas showed the registration page and how to register it. You can provide more than one URL. During app registration, app ID is generated, which will you need later when you start your developer edition. So open HTTPS localhost 3001 in the browser, accept self-signed certificate, specify the URL to your ArcGIS Online organization or ArcGIS Enterprise. In my case, I used ArcGIS Enterprise on premises. Provided the URL to portal and app ID, and now you can create experiences in your Experience Builder. ArcGIS Experience Builder can be extended through building custom widgets, creating custom themes, message actions, and other components. All of this is possible by using Experience Builder's extensibility framework called GIMO, which is built on the ArcGIS API for JavaScript 4, so the new JavaScript API, on React and Redux. Bootstrap 4 is used for user interface, HTML5. To develop widgets, TypeScript is required. TypeScript provides many advantages, such as instant type error detection, better IDE experience, self-documenting code, and also it's more readable and easier to understand. ArcGIS Experience Builder application is composed of many parts. I will name some of them. So there is a page. The page is an experience is not a physical HTML web page. It is a conceptual page. However, it behaves like an actual HTML web page. It is implemented by using a div HTML tag. An experience must have at least one page, and it can have multiple pages. There are two types of page layouts in ArcGIS Experience Builder: a full screen up page and a linear scrolling page. The former one looks like an application, and the later one looks like a web page. There is also a window. Window is similar to a page. You can add any widget to it, and it has two configurations for displaying content: fixed and unhurried. The fixed window creates a model that disables the main window but keeps it visible so users can interact with the window before they can return to experience. The fixed window can be used as a splash screen, open it with a page or from the widget. An unhurried window is triggered from the widget, such as button or a text widget. Theme defines an experience look and feel. Experience includes out-of-the-box themes, but custom themes can be created. Widget is a configurable functional unit. It is a building block used to create pages for the experience. ArcGIS Experience Builder provides out-of-the-box widgets such as map, button, list, etc., and custom widgets can be created. A widget usually provides a setting UI to allow users to configure its functionality in the Builder environment. If a widget has no configurable options, but does not include setting user interface code, a JSON editor can be used to configure it. Map and scene view. The view concept is the same as ArcGIS API for JavaScript. However, in ArcGIS Experience Builder, the view is wrapped into GIMO map view to ensure the consistent extensibility model when creating widget, message, actions, and many more parts, but you can read the documentation. It's quite well explained there. So for widget structure, widget is basically a folder which contains the manifest JSON. It's a metadata about widget. It's name, description, author, dependencies, capabilities. There is also a config JSON. It's a default widget configuration properties. There is a source folder and dist folders. Source folder contains TypeScript code, and dist folder contains compiled JavaScript code. For dist folder looks like the same structure as a source code. So in source code, you have two parts, runtime and setting. A runtime folder contains the entry file, main entry file called widget TSX. In this main entry file, you should implement your widget runtime logic. And optionally, you could create a setting TSX and develop your widget configuration user interface, because it's not always very convenient to configure with plain JSON, and sometimes not everybody understands it. Okay. So let's create a first widget. So I open, as I said, I already downloaded and extracted my Experience Builder, Developer Edition. There are two folders, server and client. The server folder contains the builder application itself. So here you must run npm start. So now we have web server running on 3001 port and on 3000. And we have this client folder. Let's open it with Visual Studio Code. The easiest way to create a widget is go to the folder called Your Extensions, where you can create here custom themes and custom widgets. So the easiest way to create a widget is just take a simple widget and make a copy of it. We will try to develop a simple widget which shows the mouse coordinates as longitude and latitude coordinates, and that's it. Super simple. And let's name it coordinates. What I said previously, there is a manifest JSON, and it's important to update the name of in the manifest. The name should match, the name property should match your widget identifier, so to be the same as a folder name. So it's right here, coordinates. Let's provide a label for our widget. Declare dependency to Gem or ArcGIS. This allows usage of ArcGIS API for JavaScript modules within the widget. Also, do not forget to update an author and description of your widget. Yes. And that's it. So we have here the source folder, runtime, and widget TSX. This is our entry file. It's a React component, which on render method will render the simple widget text. And also, we do not have any settings folder here. It means that we do not have a user interface for configuring my widget. Let's we created a new files here. So every time you create a new files in Widget.
Ramūnas, can I interrupt you for just 1 second? It is very hard to read what is on your screen. Can you somehow zoom in into the display or make the display a bit bigger?
Okay. You can say how to increase. Okay.
That is way better. Thank you.
Okay.
A bit more.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. As I said, we created a new resources here. Let's run npm start. It will scan for the your extensions folder. It found that some new files. It compiled it. So you can change the code here. It will work, but you need to cancel and start again in the cases when the new file is created. So now what we can do? Let's go to see if we have really the web server running on 3001 port. Yes. So yes, it's running. Let's create a new experience. Also larger. Let's create a new experience. Choose. There are already pre-configured templates. I will choose jewelry box template. I will remove the existing list widget. I will add newly created widget. So here at the bottom, we see the custom section, and here we see a simple widget and coordinates widgets which we just created. Choose it, and as we saw in source code, we have the runtime part. So here is the runtime part. And when I selected it in the builder environment, we are currently in builder environment, yes. In the settings section, we see the plain JSON. So it means if you could skip implementing settings .6, but then you will have to configure your widget using plain JSON. So okay, let's because we want to show the coordinates of the map. The experience could have multiple maps in the page. So this should know which map to use. So we need to configure widget and to define that we need this map. So we should implement the settings page. Let's save it. Let's create a settings TS6 in the source. New file. Setting TS6. As already Montas showed, it also uses JavaScript extension framework, and that's why we created a TS6 file. And I will copy boilerplate code here. We implement a setting widget which extends React component, and it renders. This is a starter widget settings area in the settings side. Let's create a translation file here in the settings, because if you need to localize your application, you can do it quite easily. But when you need to create a translation, is default TS6, the default translation for your widget. And here, just easy export default object with the properties for your translations, internalization, yes. We have a select map widget label. And now what we should do, go to the setting TS6 and implement a handler function, which receives the map widget identifier and stores it as a widget configuration. And let's import some dependencies here. So to make it easier, let's say you could develop your own front end here, but GMO comes with a lot of components ready to use React components. Let's say we have a settings section with a settings row and a map widget selector. So it's already ready to use components we can use. So let's update our render function and use these new components. And here, what we have a settings section, settings row, and map widget selector. The selector which allows us to choose one of the map from our application and pass it to our widget and to store this map identifier in the configuration. And we have this our internalization functionality. We provide a title for our section. We take it from our translations file. Because we created new files, we must cancel existing client process, client webpack process, and start it again. So it watches, it scans for files, new files, and starts watching it. Let's go to our application and restart it. Click on our widget, and we have this settings settings implementation running here. So let's choose our map. We have a map. Let's say we can. Okay, we have chosen this map to be used for our coordinates widget, and let's create the runtime implementation because okay, this widget already knows which map to use, but we didn't subscribe it for the events on map. Let's return back to runtime. Again, starts from the localization from the translations file. Create default translation properties. Define the lat long label, and this is a special keyword widget label which could be translated to other languages if you choose to. Okay, now let's modify widget TS6 file. Add dependencies to GMO map view. This is a wrapper React component which allows you to use ArcGIS JavaScript API map in your experience builder. Let's include default messages property. Let's create a state. We need to know which map view should be used in our runtime application in runtime widget. Implement a handler which listens for the GMO web map view. So some code will inject us the map which should be used for our widget. So it sets the state with a new GMO web map. And in render functionality, let's add this GMO map view component. This is an invisible component. It is rendered only when widget configuration knows map widget identifiers. So if there is a configured map, GMO web map component will, when the map will be visible, we will receive the event here in our handler. So it's invisible component, nothing to see in the runtime widget. So let's add two new state properties, latitude and longitude. Yes, let it be empty at the beginning. Import point from ArcGIS JavaScript API. And let's subscribe on maps pointer move events. And this we can do in here. So when we receive the new GMO web map, GMO map view, we set it to our state, and also we immediately subscribe on map pointer move event. We will receive the event, and when we create a JavaScript API point, and we will set the state to latitude and longitude properties. Let's save it. And now let's adjust our render function to display these new state properties. So we take our translation from the translations file. We take the latitude and longitude from our state. And now we can preview our application. And here we see that latitude and longitude properties are displayed on map. So this is how so what we did, we implemented the runtime part and we implemented the setting part for our widget. So now this experience application is saved, and we can publish it. And when the application is published, you can download it, and you will get the compressed file, zip file, which can be hosted on your web server. Here I will show you a small tip. There's okay. So we have you should host this application on your web server. There is the index.html and CDN folder. CDN folder contains compressed application, everything you need for your application. And actually, there is a default configuration web config for IIS, but if you host on your own web server, then what you should do, it is recommended to not to cache index.html file, but do a caching for, let's say, 1 year period, a CDN folder. So Experience Builder takes care that next time when we will build application, you will have cdn/.2 folder here, and it ensures that all your application users always gets the latest application, because index.html is not cached in the browser. Okay, return back to the slides. I started from the wrong slide. And this export functionality, I demonstrated it. You can also import it in Experience. Near create new button, there was an import button. Actually, it's quite useful when you are upgrading from, let's say, recently 1.8 version was released. And if you need to transfer your experiences from one installation to another installation, so you can transfer through import functionality. Resources. So developersarcgis.com, I already mentioned. It's documentation, samples, guides, blogs about it. So you should visit. There is also a lot of GitHub samples. S3 prepared samples in GitHub, where you can find various widgets, how to deal with translations, how to deal with data actions, how to transfer selected record from one widget to another widget, how to open a window, and so on. So yes, please read the documentation. It's quite interesting. And also there are samples almost for everything in this GitHub. And thank you